Hello and welcome back to Still Eligible. I am Jack, that is Pat. We are barely back in the ideation room. A lot has happened since we last talked. Former Heisman frontrunner transferred. Lincoln Riley to USC. Ohio State lost to Michigan. Ed Orgeron, last game. Brian Kelly, LSU. That's about it. Let's do it.
I think that's the podcast. We can wrap it up. That's all we need to.
I mean,
we hit on everything.
You got what you wanted.
You look good.
This shit's gross.
I think we should just stretch this episode out.
I've got places to be.
Yeah.
And wearing this is not one of them.
Yeah. Well, you're a man of your word, which I respect. I would have. I was not. I know I made that as my prediction that Michigan was going to win. I was surprised when it happened. So making that bet, I don't know how I would have handled it. You've handled it better than I would have handled it.
I don't even know how I've handled it. I mean, we can get into the game. I don't really know. We're all over this week. A lot has happened since we last talked. We barely got into the podcast studio today. Pat and I were both. Well, I was putting my bags in my car.
I was almost on the freeway. I was getting ready to turn, and then
some people were chilling in our studio all day, and there's Cheez-Its on the ground.
Yeah, someone
I don't know if you're watching this in 4K. Pay attention to the Cheez-Its. Don't pay attention to what I'm wearing
right there. But someone was using our podcast room as like a waiting area, or they were just ideating. One of the two.
This is the room to do it in. But we were literally we're like, screw it. We did it from home last week. We could just do it again. Like, I don't want to stay here all night to just film this. And God knows, Oklahoma will probably have a coach by the time the podcast is over, which is honestly sad but true.
Yeah.
We
got in, which is good.
Here.
It's a later pod. It gets a little weird.
Things get groovy late night.
Yeah. So.
All right, let's get this part out of the way.
A lot of I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'm a huge fan of the coaching carousel, but I've never seen it like this.
I mean, absolutely crazy. I'm gonna scroll down to the very bottom of our outline. I was writing this on the plane ride home, and I was like, LSU still searching for their coach. Notre Dame still has a chance of making the CFP. All this stuff. Which Notre Dame obviously still has a chance of making the CFP, which would be weird if they made it without their head coach or whatever. But I just thought it was funny that, everything happened so quick. Scott Woodward got his guy, even though it's not Lincoln Riley. I've got all these notes, and I was like, whatever, just kind of recapping the weekend. And we knew Scott Woodward was going to hit a home run, and, he did. I know a lot of people, I've seen a lot of stuff on social media, like Brian Kelly isn't the LSU guy, and it's Coach O's from Louisiana, so it is what it is. But Brian Kelly, he's been stuck in the Notre Dame sphere for a long time, and it's a hard school to coach, not being in a conference. Not that the SEC is easy to coach in by any means, but it should be interesting to see what he can do there. Obviously, a little bit more on the recruiting possibilities, I would imagine. I think anyone could get into LSU. I don't think anyone can get into Notre Dame. I know that Notre Dame, after he left, they were talking about how they're trying to reinstill the Catholic core values and stuff like that, and who knows what's next for Notre Dame, as they're still looking for an interim coach, a head coach, everything in between. So that's number one, Brian Kelly, and then our guy Lincoln Riley going out west.
Yeah, and I think that one makes more sense to me than the Brian Kelly one. I think there must have been some. I've heard about it with Michigan stuff of the whole admissions process. It's a little harder to coach at schools like that where you might lose a recruit or two a year because they don't meet the standards. The Lincoln Riley thing.
The Lincoln Riley thing was a surprise, though.
Nobody saw that. No. No one saw that. I love the fact that when someone asked him, the clip everybody saw of are you going to be the next coach at LSU?
I'm not.
And he cut it off so that the guy couldn't ask or USC, which is that's what you got to do, because Saban got asked the question back in the day, and he was just he had to answer it because he let the reporter talk and ask him the actual question of, are you going to stay in Miami? And that's the new technique, is just cut them off once they list a school that you're not going to, and then that's the smoke screen. A lot of smoke screens for these jobs.
And I think the USC job it's fascinating to me in a million different ways. I mean, one of them is I think about my childhood and your mid-20s.
Mid-20s, 30s.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that, like, USC was a staple of Pete Carroll wearing sunglasses on the sidelines, had so much swag, Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, whoever it may be. And I feel like that is about to come full circle and come back to USC. And a little bit of swag, a little bit of, that SC wrapping around Southern California and all that stuff. I think it goes a long way. Like, I mean, everyone secretly likes USC, unless you're like a UCLA fan or whatever. And when USC is good, the Pac-12 is good. Or not the Pac-12 is good, but the Pac-12 is relevant. They're not relevant when USC is not good. Like Oregon, okay, but not really.
College football, and as a Michigan fan, I mean, obviously I'm on cloud nine today. We've played USC. Like, I remember playing them in like the Rose Bowl, and like they've smoked us a couple times, beat us badly. I think during more like of the Carroll era, and so like as a Michigan fan, I'm looking at these coaching changes from like two different lenses. Like, as a Michigan fan, like, I don't want these teams to like make these home run hires, because I want Michigan to keep doing better and better. And obviously, like, I've had trust in Harbaugh. I know he's not exactly your guy,
clown.
But as a college football fan in general, which I've become more of during the course of hosting this, I do enjoy like seeing these crazy hires, because it's just like, all right, this is going to make college football that much more. Again, we've been talking a lot about 2007 and that season and how wild that was. Like, this season's definitely crazier in the sense of the off-season stuff, because the combination of all the crazy games and the coaching changes, it's happening during the season, like during the CFP run.
Well, that's what's absolutely crazy about it, is like a lot of things are happening for the first time ever. And like the CFP era is still relatively newer. The PCS was like, I think 98 to 2013. Mm-hmm. This is, relatively
during my
new.
40s.
Exactly. And Cincinnati is like, every week that Cincinnati moves up a spot, it's like the first time ever that a non-Power 5 has been ranked that high. And it's the first time ever this. And, everyone can complain about how the CFP is formatted and stuff like that, but it's just like, it goes way beyond that. And the early signing periods, like middle of December, and that's why a lot of these, coaches get fired and rehired so quickly. And that's why Brian Kelly had to leave so quickly, is because he's got to go get a whole new staff in there. And it's very interesting to me, I guess, for both of these fronts, but mainly the USC one, what the transfer portal is going to do. Like, we've never seen like such a high profile coach leave a gig for an even higher profile, I mean, like, it is job, and what that consists of. So it'll be very interesting to see. All right, well, we've already seen people decommit from Oklahoma and say they're going to USC. Like, it was like a 5-star quarterback. I had it somewhere. 5-star quarterback, 5-star receiver, and a 4-star running back decommit and commit to USC already. And then you wonder what coaches are coming with him, what current players from Oklahoma are coming with him, and stuff like that, where, I mean, obviously the Caleb Williams talk is happening. And if I'm Oklahoma, that's like my number one concern, is to keep Caleb Williams there, because if you don't have Caleb Williams, that's already – and you don't have a coach, like, it's not trending in the right direction. And I don't know. It's very – so much can shake up right here. And, I mean, I saw some comments. Our guys from Podcast on the Prairie, Jeremiah was saying nothing but love to Coach. And he was saying, wishing him the best of luck, and saying how much he's helped him and mentored him and shaped him and helped him get to where he is today. And he's going to the Reese's Senior Bowl and stuff like that. But like some of the comments on USC football social media, and like some of the stuff that was brought to light of like, I don't remember the exact quote, but there was like a quote saying like, Los Angeles is about to be like the mecca of college football. And then one of the players, it might have been that Nick dude,
Bonito
from
the media days. Yeah,
I think he commented on it and said, Coach told us that last week. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, the drama is real. And like I said, it's so much happened in a short period of time. Like, Saturday night, he loses to Oklahoma State. What happens if they beat Oklahoma State and they're in the Big 12 championship? then like is he coaching that game or does he pull a Brian Kelly? Granted, like I don't know. Like it's just so much stuff unpacking.
I'm looking at like the announcement post from USC, and one of the replies is he said he wasn't going to LA. Period. Like Louisiana. He never said he wasn't going to LA.
See?
You got to be sneaky. I mean, it's pretty. It's kind of like a sneaky. I don't know if like I've read a lot of articles about like should the rules be changed and like do the like does it need to be? But I don't know. Like
I think signing period should be moved up.
That's
before
because
the
that's
season.
why this is all happen. This literally like you have to find a coach in like 48 hours sometimes, which is just insane.
Ridiculous to think about. And like whatever, like Luke Fickell, and I could be wrong, but I don't think Luke Fickell is gonna leave. And he's in talks of the Notre Dame job. He almost went to Notre Dame over Ohio State, but another story. I don't think Luke Fickell could be the Notre Dame head coach. I don't see Luke Fickell leaving Cincinnati when they're going to have the chance to make a CFP, and that's like his number one mission since he's been there. Granted, if they lose to Houston this weekend, which is possible, then I could see it happen.
Aren't they playing Miami, Ohio like tonight or something? Or like
who's that?
I thought like somebody's playing like Miami, Ohio. I thought I heard football. Am I just completely off there?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a proud alumni. Actually, I am a proud alumni, but Miami lost in like overtime to Kent State, and they are not going to be in the MAC championship. While you look that up,
I don't know. I don't know.
I just think that this is a huge home run. Obviously, USC, the mecca of like California and winning the state. We talk about winning the state all the time when it comes to recruiting, and like I think DJ Uyunglele, CJ Stroud is from LA, a bunch. There's so much talent that is from the California area, and I don't know. Lincoln Riley can obviously recruit. He obviously can coach quarterbacks. He can win Heisman's, and now he's going to try to rebuild one of the biggest brands already in college football. When I think of USC, it's got to be it's definitely a top 5 school when it comes to college football. I know it's been off the past few years, but they had some great coaches throughout the years, like Sark and Kiffin and Coach O and whatever, but I feel like this is actually like they got their swagger back.
I do think they got their swagger back. One of the best videos of all time. We need to add that to the soundboard.
It's awesome too because Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush signed off on this. I saw an interview with Matt Leinart saying like he was talked to about it and he was hyped about it and he was like it's a great day for USC football. So I think that's huge.
I think the Big Noon guys are actually following us this year, by the way. I think they take their schedule based off of us.
I'm sure they're going to be. Are they going to be in? Do we say where we're going this weekend?
No, we can.
It's behind us.
We'll take this is a reminder to ourselves that we need to take a picture before we go.
Yeah,
we would have been home had we not driven back up to come back up to the office. But yes, we're going to the SEC championship.
SEC championship this weekend. Obviously, it's the game of the weekend. There's some big games across the board, but nothing like a top 3 SEC matchup that, obviously the winner, I feel like if Alabama wins, they move up to number 1. I think that's a tall task. I think they're what? I forget. I have the spreads on here somewhere.
So if they lose, do you think they drop out of the top 4?
Well, that's
that Auburn game?
Where did I put all the spreads at? We've got so many notes on here today. I'm just going to type it in. Where is it? Do you know where it's at? Oh, here
it's under the Cheez-Its on the floor.
Cheez-Its. What's the spread? So 6.5. Georgia's favored by 6.5. I think that there's so much that can happen this weekend, and we're just bouncing all over, which is fine. But Michigan's favored by 10.5 against Iowa. I think that score realistically could be like 20-17.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm totally expecting like a 17-10 game that's like not that exciting, but they just can't.
I think Michigan's gonna win. I can say that because I'm wearing the shirt. I've never picked them to win anything. But also, you should have never let me wear this because of the curse. Whatever.
Ooh,
that's
I didn't
on
think
you.
About that.
Michigan. So I think Michigan could lose. I'm not saying this is gonna happen. Say Michigan loses. Say Oregon loses, which doesn't make that big of a difference. Cincinnati could very well lose to Houston, and Alabama loses to Georgia. That like that's what I was getting at earlier. The whole 2, 3, and 4 can shake up in so many different ways because I wouldn't imagine you'd put Ohio State above Michigan, but then you have, Baylor, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State could lose that too. They're a favorite against Baylor, but they could lose. And then you're going to put a 2-loss Baylor Big 12 champ in. Notre Dame, they're not playing in a obviously a conference championship game, so they could just ease up in there depending on how many of these teams lose.
If Notre Dame gets in, that's going to make the whole
which is crazy because imagine if Notre Dame won the Natty this
without
year without their coach. And it's just what this year of college football upset city. And that's what I'm saying. None of these could happen, but one of these are going to happen. Michigan's going to lose to Iowa, or Georgia's going to lose to Alabama, or something.
Something's going to happen.
Houston, Cincinnati. Cincinnati's not been convincing, but they are undefeated. Someone's going to lose, and if they don't, then whatever. The year's a joke. But there's been so much shakeup this year that anything could happen this weekend, and it wouldn't surprise me. I don't remember the exact details. I was a little kid, but I think Ohio State was third, and then 1 and 2 lost that night.
Oh,
it was West Virginia and somebody else.
Was it South Florida? Was it no? Not 2000. I'm thinking 2007 because that's just what my brain is set on. But yeah,
I remember being a little kid home alone, just watching those on the ground in my parents' living room. It might have been Florida. Might have lost.
Yeah, was it the year? That's what I was thinking. Was it the year, or was it the Chris Leak year?
I don't know.
Were you 3 then? I
was sucking on my thumb. But regardless, stuff like that can happen, and who knows what can come out of it. So I'm amped up.
I'm scared. I'm not scared for the Michigan Iowa game. I think we're gonna be fine, especially coming off of the Ohio State thing. But also we've talked about it how Iowa probably only watches film of top 2 teams. So Michigan's now in the top 2. I'm a little.
That's Purdue. But I guess Iowa.
Well, okay. Yeah, I guess that's true. Iowa was kind of rising up the ranks earlier this year, and then obviously had some bad losses. But
my only question around Michigan, and I think Michigan kicked the shit out of Ohio State this weekend. We'll get into that.
Yep.
Was not fun to be a part of, but there was so much heart and passion and electricity and everything that went into that game that I don't even know, I don't know what Harbaugh can say to them to get them back.
That's what I'm worried. That's what I'm worried about. Is the come down from, and
they've never made a CFP. That he's never won a Big Ten championship. So there's definitely motivation there.
The choke,
but you can't be that. No. There's no way you can be that motivated every week. If I was that motivated every week, I'd never sleep.
I'm worried in the sense of he had a quote where the whole U.S. hockey, USSR or whatever thing, that game that was the famous game, that was the game to get to the gold medal game. That game was not the game, so he kept referencing we still have one more game to go.
We still potentially have 3 more games.
Yeah, but
one game at a time.
Best case scenario, obviously for us. If we are first timers in the CFP, it'd be amazing if Bama upset Georgia. And then
I want Oklahoma State to make it in. Go Pokes.
Yeah.
Keep Shelby happy. Keep me happy. Keep everybody happy. I love the Poke. What's his name?
The mascot? The dude with the huge head.
Huge head. We got a picture of him.
Yeah, we got a picture. He's super creepy.
Someone's probably mad they don't know the name of that, but it's all good.
He's scary. But obviously could be great for me as a Michigan fan, but as just a college football fan in general, this weekend's going to be fun. I think we have successfully, this is going to be our last big game or whatever. We picked the best games we could have possibly gone to this year, both from a storyline standpoint.
We've been lucky,
and we didn't go West Coast, which I guess
maybe we'll go to USC now.
Yeah, USC just let us in and let us document. But to end it with this game. Number 1. Not obviously not number 1, number 2, but
pretty close.
Pretty close. And right after Michigan, Ohio State, that's pretty wild.
It's a good back-to-back, and I'm excited with the CFP rankings coming out Sunday, and like I was saying earlier, Cincinnati. Every time Cincinnati moves up, it's something new, and we just talked about how much shakeup could potentially happen this weekend, and normally it's that a couple teams are going to be in there, or you have a good idea of who would be in if one of those teams loses and stuff like that. And it's not the Clemson, Ohio State deal that it's been traditionally
Mm-hmm.
the past few years. And, Alabama, Georgia, obviously they're always up there, but normally Alabama's on top and they got to play the underdog role. And we'll get into all that in a bit. But, just super excited for this weekend and hot Atlanta and, God, everything that goes with it. Do we tell them what else we're doing next week, or do we wait on that, or what do you want to do?
I guess we should probably just say it now because we're not. Yeah, let's just say it.
All right. Well, next
We rented Texas.
we rented Texas. What color did you go with?
Black.
Black. Would you go black undershirt or black collared shirt?
I
You went white.
think I went white.
I think I went all black.
I don't even know if I got everything I need. I guess I'll find out when I get there. I think I did. I got yeah.
You get shoes.
I got shoes.
You get a tie.
I think the tie comes with the.
I don't know if it does.
It's in the picture.
I think you had to add stuff.
Okay, I'll check.
I think you had to add.
I
Anyways,
added
next-
all. I added everything I needed to add, but we'll see.
Okay. I'm worried about you.
Okay.
Next Monday. So Friday, Saturday, we're going to Atlanta
SEC.
for the SEC championship. Sunday, we're flying from Atlanta to Charlotte. Monday is the Nagerski Awards, where they will be giving out the awards to the best defensive player in the country. Will Anderson Jr., Thibodeau, and Jordan Davis. So Alabama, Georgia, and Oregon players represented. It's the best defensive player in the country. They invited Pat and I. We will be giving out the award.
Yes.
We won't be giving out the award, but we will be in attendance. We're hopefully going to have some time to chat with those guys and hang out. And, supposedly there's some good food there, and there's an after party on the rooftop with the guys. So, if I'm taking shots with Thibodeau by the end of the night, it's been a good day. So we might need you to be like a hidden camera guy on that.
Yeah.
If I can be like, hey, what's up, man? Congrats.
Do some pass rushing drills on the roof, and if you
Number
you
one
lose,
overall pick.
Yeah, if you lose, you get thrown off the roof.
Wow. Okay. Let's take a turn. What do you say? What do you want to do? A quick break?
Let's take a break, and then we'll do some Preciate Ya's. We'll talk about the game, and we'll talk about this wild college football, college coaching carousel. I can't even talk. Should we do the victors? Should we sing the victors?
You can.
That wasn't part of the bet, was it?
You can sing it. Let's hear it.
I'm not a good singer.
It doesn't matter.
The game, Jack.
Yeah, it happened.
It did. It was real.
All right, I'll go first. One, the line, both lines, Michigan won the line. And I think that early on in the game, you guys scored that opening touchdown drive, and I was like, okay, we've got a game. Because in my opinion, and everyone's opinion for that matter, Michigan had to score with Ohio State. They had to stay up on it. They had to score whatever. Cam Brown ripping off the helmet of Roman Wilson really was the turning point. I guess we'll back it up a second. We get that. We don't score, then we get that interception, and I was like, all right, we've got the momentum we need. But then we fast forward. Cam Brown ripping off the helmet of Roman Wilson. That could have went one of two ways, and it went good for you and bad for us.
Yeah, everyone was hype and or hyphy
right
on the sideline.
And I will caveat, and I'm not saying I would have picked against Ohio State by any means, but being around the program the past few years, you kind of feel the energy, and you know how it's going. You know how the season's trending, and you kind of have that little bit of insider knowledge. And I didn't feel like I had that this year. And this is nothing to do. I have nothing to do with the outcome of this game, believe it or not. But you could tell very quickly how defeated these guys were and how motivated Michigan was. And this is brutal for me to say, wearing all this shit and talking like this. But Michigan just wanted it more from the opening kick until the final whistle. It was, I do this thing during every national anthem where I kind of like say thanks to be where I'm at and have the opportunities to be where I'm at and do the things that we get to do, because it is a true blessing. And to be able to go to that game is one thing. To be able to be on the sidelines is another thing. To be able to go to a new school every week is a totally another thing. And I'm sitting there like 4 feet away from Lee Corso and Brutus during the national anthem. Like those two are like hugging each other. It's kind of weird. And the snow's falling. I'm next to my guy, Matt Andrews, the sideline reporter for Ohio State. Snow's falling. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's like for so many people around the country, like the Egg Bowl on Thursday night, or the Bedlam game of Oklahoma State, or, you know, we were able to go to Florida, Georgia, or Oklahoma, Texas. Like, this rivalry means so much more than all of those, in my opinion, and most people's opinion. And then, you know, flash forward to the fight, halftime, all that shit. I don't even know what I'm saying. All I'm saying is Ohio State kicked the shit out of Michigan State and then came out so flat. And the Michigan fans were rowdy. I was there a few years ago, and I don't know, was that the number 2 defense in the country? That might have been at Ohio State.
Like I don't know. What was a Don Brown defense back then?
Regardless. You guys came out with so much heart, so much passion. The fans were crazy. I've never seen the Michigan fans like that. Granted, I've been to 2 games there, and we won the other one. But I mean, the fans were rowdy. Yeah, I just went on I don't even know what I just said.
It was, you know why?
But I hate Michigan.
Yeah, I know.
And Jim Harbaugh is a fraud. Go Bucks.
DJ Ski had everybody hype.
Dude, what was that dude's deal?
I don't know. I looked him up on Twitter. He has like 300,000 followers. Like, I figured it was just more of like a local. Like,
that guy looked like we had to get a last minute DJ, and they found that.
He was legit. I mean, he played kind of the same couple of songs over the course of the game. I feel like the whole Mr. Brightside thing is obviously, he's got to press play on that one at the right time, and it's fine. But I mean, someone today asked me like, how did it feel? And
horrible.
Well, it didn't really hit me. I mean, I was home. I'm from Ann Arbor, if you don't know. So it's like, it didn't hit me until I was walking out with Emily, who works for like Ohio State and Big Ten Network, right? Legendary videographer. Shout out Emily. And like we were walking out. I already said bye to you. I filmed my little send off on the field, whatever. Trying to be respectful, but also, you know, enjoy the moment, and was walking with her to her car, and then walked to my dad was in like stop and go traffic to come pick me up, because I tried to get an Uber. There was no Uber. He was kind of my chauffeur, and I was kind of just stressing like about the logistics of like getting home after the game, and it didn't really hit me because I was filming in the tunnel, and like Juwan Howard was there, and like everybody was getting super emotional, and like it didn't fully hit me till I got home, and like I saw my brother, I saw my sister, I saw my parents, and like everybody just started talking about the game, and I was just like, oh my god, like we're not losers. And that was the best part, was just being home, seeing everybody that I care about, and like kind of just being like, how was it, like talking about the game, and just like what you were just saying, like they're watching it at home. Which a lot of times we'll talk to people and they're like, oh, well, I like watching the game at home, whatever. And whenever I hear someone say that, I'm just like, I mean, good for you. But like, if you can get on the sideline for these games, like, I mean, there's nothing like it. So the snow was definitely a cool part of it.
Snow was sweet.
I got to see literally like from
the end of the game until when we left the stadium, it snowed about 70 feet.
It was wild. And I got to see, it was so fun because like, when we took, I'm not trying to get super emotional here or anything, but please. You were saying, I mean, I'm trying to talk about the whole experience. Like, I got in after the pregame stuff. My guy, Kurt, Swoboda hooked us up. We like didn't have vests. Then we got the we thought we were like weren't gonna be able to film. So Kurt hooked it up. Shout out Kurt.
What happened there? But
he hooked it up as he always
Kurt.
does, and then was feeling better about everything. And then I like walked out to kind of start filming or whatever, and I literally turned the corner and I saw like 3 people that I worked with at Michigan. Then I saw like someone I used to play hockey with, someone I used to go to his gym in Ann Arbor, Danny Roth, and Blue Line Fitness is like my favorite place in the entire world. I saw him, his wife. I saw my buddy Alan. I saw like 10 people I knew just like on the perimeter of like the sideline. They all had like the all access passes or whatever. And it was just such like a cool moment to be like, when you're working at a school, I don't know if like the right term is like it gets old or you get used to it, but it's like it's very cool to see all these schools and then come back and have this be like, obviously the SEC championship game is going to be cool, but like it was the final regular season game. It's the best rivalry game in the world. I don't really care what anybody else says, and so like
nobody cares what other people think.
No, that's the one thing I think we have disagreements. I think we're, whatever. It's this point in the year where, I know that I do things that annoy you and I'm sorry, but like at this point in the year, like to experience that after being on the road for 13 weeks or whatever, I mean, it's pretty cool. So
I'll say
that whole feeling was very awesome.
I'll say this too. I mean, I know you guys faked COVID and all that last year, so you don't have to play the game, but I do think it was it's good for the rivalry. We'll say that.
Yes.
Because it's been a long time and there's no room to trash talk at this point, but it's been a long time.
You really can't in that jersey.
But I think it was cool that you guys were able to win at home in the snow and whatever. After that last touchdown, what's his name? Son Haskins, who just ran up and down us all day. That one was right to me, like literally right to me. And I was like, screw this. This sucks. I'm walking back in. And I just walked up the tunnel and I was like, I know I mean, like, whatever. I don't care. But like, I know you guys are crowd surfing and crowd whatever, storming the field. And like, part of me was like, I should be out there for content. But also I was like, I'm wearing 8 layers of Ohio State stuff. I will just get, we don't need that.
Yeah, that's been a funny part of doing this too, is like seeing like just wearing something, like sometimes you're wearing the wrong thing at the wrong time and someone's just like, what are you doing? Why are you wearing that? And it's just like for you. I mean, I came in actually during the press conferences after, like I went on the field, wore my mask during the field storm, which I'm sure really helped.
It does help.
And then kind of like was trying to get back out to like film a video, but everybody was still in the field. So like I kept coming in, and every time I came into like the media room, like Ryan Day was like giving his press conference and you were just sitting there like head in your, like kind of head down,
like a baby watching him.
Head down. And so I was just like, I kept coming in to try to like talk to you, and it was just like, this is probably not a good time. And I could just tell you were very defeated, but I mean, I don't know.
The happiest moment.
The buildup of just losing over and over, and like especially when it's been like the highly ranked games, or the year that you guys beat us, like what was it, like 62 to
39?
Oh my God, that was the worst. So all of those years, and since I've met you, you've talked that talk, and rightfully so. Like you've had every right to. I mean, you guys have dominated us, but it just felt very cool. And yeah, like as I think of myself now in 2 ways. Like I'm a Michigan fan, but I'm also like a college football fan. So like as a college football fan, I'm happy because it means like next year's game will be better. And yeah,
I wanted to get to 4,000 days. Oh man, no, it was cool. I mean, it sucked, but it was cool. Absolutely sucked. I had a lot of people tell me that they're not going to watch this week's podcast because of the shit I have to wear.
I mean,
when I said I completely understand.
Yeah.
But one last point I had on this, and this, I mean, it doesn't really have to do with the game, but it has to do with the weather and the Big Ten weather and stuff like that. And the whole idea of like people saying, expand the CFP. We don't need to get into all that, but the weather of that game, like just imagine any of these Southern schools, SEC schools, USC for that matter, or whoever, if there's a 12-team playoff, like I don't know, they always put the 12-team like fake bracket out there of who'd be playing who. I don't know where those matchups align, but like whatever. Michigan's 2 this week, right?
Yeah.
So who'd they be playing? 11? See, I don't know who's 11. I know my top few. So they'd be playing. Oh, Michigan State. Not good for the argument.
No.
Ohio State 7. Who would they be playing? 9. Baylor.
You're basically saying like playing
Imagine
a warm
these,
weather
yeah.
team.
No, I know. I was hopefully getting a point in there, but it doesn't make a difference. But yes, a school coming up north to play in that weather, that weather sucks. And we're from Ohio, Michigan. Granted, we've been in Texas for the past whatever, but also we've been around the country. And we've been in 19 different time zones and area codes and whatever. We were in Montana, Penn State, whatever the past few weeks. So, like, I'm relatively used to it, and it doesn't take long to readjust.
No.
I mean, I think it's probably a lot worse if you move to Texas for, like, 20 years and you go up to the game. Then you're probably screwed and you don't travel every weekend. But that weather was brutal.
Oh, terrible. And stepping off the plane back to Texas, like I'm a little homesick after like seeing my family and everything, and like I got to see a few of my friends, and like I was kind of telling them, I was like, even with this weather, like I do miss it. And then I stepped out the plane, and I was just like, yep, I'm good. I'm good. This is 70 degrees. Yeah, I literally wore shorts like all day the other day, so I can't complain about that.
There we go. Well, brutal game, brutal outcome, but
yeah, I appreciate you fulfilling the bet. I appreciate you being a man of your word, and I'm fine if you rip that off the moment this podcast ends.
I will.
Appreciate you, and here are a few people that I and you appreciate. Appreciate Ya's.
Speak carefully, because I see you're pretty.
Yeah. Segment we do. This is based off your catchphrase. Let people know that we appreciate the things they're doing. My first one, I'm sure you remember Charles Woodson winning the Heisman back in '97 over Peyton. I'm hoping something similar happens again for this guy, Aiden Hutchinson. Big day against Ohio State, had 3 sacks. I edited that recap video, and I actually had to like cut one of his sacks out because I went over the time limit for the video. I was just like, that is such a baller thing that he still had 2 sacks in a recap video, but I had to cut one out. So 15 quarterback pressures. That's the most in a game since PFF has been tracking since 2014. Did not need to come back. He would have been a first-round pick if he had declared last year. A lot of people think that. But he's going to go down. Him and Haskins, I mean, not that they probably buy drinks in Ann Arbor, but they will never have to buy a drink ever again. They are.
Dude's bigger than shit.
He's huge.
I was standing next to him at Penn State, and I was like, this might be. I mean, Chase Young is like the biggest specimen of a person I've ever been next to.
Aiden's just big.
He's just a huge person.
Huge guy. And I think he's going to dominate against Iowa, which is why I hope he gets an invite. I hope he gets an invite to New York. I have no idea what his dimensions are for that suit he'd be fitted for, because he is just a...
Didn't his... I don't know if you have it on here, but didn't his like chances of winning the Heisman just skyrocket drastically?
Yeah, he's... I mean, a lot of people have him as their favorite now, but obviously it's so often slanted offensively. I hope he gets an invite just because it'll be good PR-wise for Michigan. But I don't know. I think a lot of times in a Heisman campaign, you need that like marquee game, and he's had it now. So even if he doesn't have a great performance against Iowa, I still think he deserves it. So Aiden Hutchinson, I definitely have enough highlights of you to fit into this week's promo video. So also the bigger thing would be you winning the Heisman, but that's an award in itself. So appreciate you.
Yeah, we haven't done a whole lot of Heisman talk, and I think a Heisman thing is it should go to the best player in the country. Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily do that. But if we're going to make defensive shout-outs for Heisman, I'm going to go to my guy, Willie Anderson Jr. from Alabama. We'll get the chance to meet him next week, but he leads the nation in sacks and a ton of other categories. I think he leads the nation in tackles for a loss, almost like double the second guy in SEC. He's just a beast. His stats just go on for days. I think he's got more tackles for a loss than like anyone with the last name Watt, Ndamukong Suh, Chase Young, Clowney, Aaron Donald, all those guys. So if you haven't been paying attention to Will Anderson Jr., he's pretty legit too. So anyways, my first appreciate goes out to the past week in college football. I mean, this is me. I'm wearing the college football hat. I love the sport. It's what we do, college football. I'll give a part of the appreciate you to the Michigan-Ohio State game and the fact that it's good for the rivalry. Just everything that happened this past week. The preseason Heisman favorite, Spencer Rattler, enters the transfer portal. Former number 1 overall running back recruit, Zach Evans from TCU, in the portal. The Bama-Auburn game, 4 overtimes, absolutely wild. Sweet game to watch. I literally tuned into that game with like the last 2 minutes, and then we were waiting in line at dinner, my dad, brother, and I, and we sat there and we watched all of it, and it was awesome. You love a good game like that. Lincoln Riley leaves OU to become the new coach at USC. I'm a big fan of this. I know the OU people are pissed off and whatever. Sorry about it. I think it's good for
our bosses.
Well, yeah, sorry. Sorry about it.
Sorry, JP.
The number 1 QB decommitted from OU to go to USC. Ed Orgeron coaches his last game at LSU. Brian Kelly leaves Notre Dame. An awesome game in Bedlam. Oklahoma State beats Oklahoma. And, I mean, it's just this past week in college football, absolutely beautiful. This is why we love the game. This is why we tune in week to week. Storylines out the ass. There you go. Appreciate you, college football.
I was just thinking, what if Coach O said, "No Tigers," when he left?
We done. No Tigers.
This next one I know you're gonna love. With the recent, I know you can see it, so I'll just say it. With the recent coaching carousel, a lot of people now are on edge that their coach is going to leave, and so this is some good news for you. John Krasinski would like this. This is a Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh news. He got a $500,000 bonus for beating Ohio State, and that secured the Big Ten East crown. Him and his wife Sarah developed a plan. So when I was at U of M, kind of while we were pitching this, the athletic department, a lot of people got reduced wages because of the pandemic. He's going to be donating that money back to them. And there could be more money coming to these employees. The Big Ten title game, winning that would trigger $1 million bonus clause, the berth in the CFP, another $500,000, and could earn an additional $1 million if Michigan wins the Natty. He just said, "This is our family way, our family contribution to those that have had some financial strain through the last 18 months. Jack, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
He's a fraud.
Okay.
This is all a publicity stunt.
Sure.
He's still going to make that money, and he'll fake it. I don't trust a word the man says.
Having listened to all that and said everything I said, Jim Harbaugh, Michigan man, glad to have you. Appreciate you.
Anyways, Nick Saban, he's my next appreciate you. And you're probably like, Jack, why would you give Nick Saban appreciate you? Which is a fair question. I don't know if you saw all this. Last week at his coach's show, he went on this crazy rant about how these guys are players. We got to see him in his coach's show, but he went on a rant about how these guys are players and they're playing their asses off. And when they lose, it means more to them losing than it does to you and all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. And after the game that they won in 4 overtimes, his girl, Miss Terry, was sitting there waiting for him at the end of the tunnel. He was just genuinely happy to get out of that win against Auburn and to come out of the tunnel. And I think it's very obvious to Nick Saban, and I don't know if Alabama fans feel the same way, but this isn't the Alabama team that's always been. And, people look at the script A and they just assume Alabama this, Alabama that. Alabama's underdogs this weekend against Georgia. and they haven't been underdogs since Georgia, and I think like since 2015, where they ended up beating them by like 20 or something like that. But Saban's team normally has no weaknesses, and this year they're just kind of all over the place. They don't have the wide receiver core they normally do. They don't have the run game they normally do. It's not as plug and go as normal. They're 11-1, and people are saying this is a down year, right? So just seeing Nick Saban almost be humanized a little bit and talking to people like they're people and stuff like that. I think if you look up Nick Saban from the past week, a couple of his interviews and stuff like that, you realize that this team means something to him. It means something different. He knows that it's not the Nick Saban whatever, and he's coaching them differently, and you can kind of tell that, the expectations are still there. He still wants to win a natty, but, getting that win against Auburn, sure, it was ugly, and rather than going in there and probably ripping them like he could have done and would have done like years ago, it's almost like, all right, guys, well, shit was a little close, but good win, and let's go get Georgia. So, Nick Saban, not a robot. Appreciate you.
Not a robot. Anything else you want to talk about in the crazy carousel college football world, or should we?
I mean, there's just so much that can happen. Like, whatever. We're recording this at 6:00 at night, and who knows what's going to happen in the next by morning or by the end of this week, and by next time we'll talk to you. I mean, who knows? There's going to be so much stuff that's shaken out, and the CFP will be announced and everything. So stay tuned, follow along. I don't know. There's just so much going on. It's the best time of college football, the best time of the year. 'Tis the season. What else?
I guess I'm seeing news that the CFP committee agrees about expanding, and the first round game should be played on campus, but cannot agree about if Power 5 conferences receive auto bids or not. So they're going to discuss that in the next meeting in January. But I love the fact that the first round will be on campus, because just imagine those games like you were talking about.
Absolutely unreal. The idea of that is crazy. God. Just imagine any school playing up in the snow that's not used to.
Like Florida State against Michigan. God, it's just that's such an advantage for our teams that that's incredible. So a lot to look forward to. I mean, I like the 4-team playoff obviously this year, because it looks like we're like Michigan's going to get in, but previous years like we've been on the cusp and just been outside. So I want it to expand. I mean, I think similar talk. It's like, this will be interesting to see, like, if the rules are going to change about coaching changes, because I think, getting back to what we were saying earlier, like, I don't know if that signing period is, like, needs to be changed, like you were saying, because that seems to be the driving factor of, like, you need a coach before that happens. But it just feels like everything's going a little more money-wise. It's, like, feeling more professional, obviously, and it's always been a huge money-making machine. But I don't know. I mean, I like it the way it is. I hope it doesn't become this thing where there's like only one conference, and I do like this past week looking back on it, I'm like, that's what college football should be like. So hopefully the changes that come keep the chaos, because the chaos is fun.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, like there's the first time in a lot of ways. Tommy Rees is negotiating with Notre Dame. The first time in a lot of ways that things are happening for the first time. Like I said, like the whole Cincy thing and whatever. So the idea of expanding the CFP is great, but it's like, this is all still relatively new. And whether it goes to 8 to 12 or it stays at 4 or whatever, like there's perks to all of it. And I mean, it's easy to knock the door down and say we're doing things wrong, but I don't know. If it makes the game better, I love it. So we had a level of drama along the way.
There you go.
You got anything to add? We good?
No, I think
you gotta figure out if you ordered a tie.
Yeah, and let me go do that. So appreciate you for listening. Follow us on social media. We're everywhere you think we might be. Everyone always asks us, "What are you on?" We're literally on everything.
We're on everything. Like, follow, subscribe. Give us a review. I've said that a few times. I don't know if anyone's done it. Subscribe.
Do it, please.
Give us a review.
Get up. if you're laying
If
down,
you're watching
go
this
do
on YouTube because you want to see me in a Michigan shirt, just press. There's like, I don't know where it's at, like down here. Press that button, subscribe, do it all.
I think it's more like here.
I don't know.
I don't know. No idea.
The bell's on one side, subscribe's on the other.
I'm just glad that we didn't do this remotely and that we got in our cars and came back.